Hello, I'm MPX Toycat, and it's so clear that at Mojang, they at least had a preference for us voting for the Isolager over the Glow Squid.
If you missed the first round of voting, make sure you get in on this one. It determines which one of these two makes it into Minecraft. I know who I'll be voting for.
But the question we get from Savage Pig 2 is a pretty good one, which is, do you think the Glow Squid will have a use or just be a thing that exists? And although, immediately I want to be like, nah, they're going to spite us. They're going to literally give us a squid that doesn't even glow in a way that we'd expect, because they also confirmed that it's only going to glow like an Enderman or a Blaze or whatever. But I think because everyone is anticipating some extra use for it, they can't just go ahead and add it to the game by itself. I think that is kind of unthinkable, especially given what we've seen from Mojang as far as listening to community feedback and actually implementing the good ideas from us. So that is my opinion there. But hello, I'm BX Toycat. Welcome to Q&A Saturday. This is the Sometimes Weekly series where I answer your questions, which are sometimes about Minecraft, and in the case of today's video, a weird mix of things, because this is my last Q&A in America. I'm actually in a new place now, and I know I managed to find the one place in America that has worse audio than where I was staying before, but whatever, it's one more bad audio Q&A. I hope you can listen through it, because there's a lot of fun answers I wanted to go through and kind of get personal with all of you, because Froyo History asks, was there any video you regretted? And actually, yeah, there is this one that still comes up to this day and makes me like kind of horrified about the fact that it could happen again, and I'm just not going to know until it does. But I made a church to Satan in one of my Let's Play episodes, and it being in the UK, there is a general kind of consensus that like, yeah, you can do whatever religion you want, but most people are religious, or they have the kind of like basic feeling towards something, and especially in the younger generation, there is no like, there's no anticipation that someone will be religious. It's almost weird when someone does have like a deep-seated belief in God or not. But in America, like it literally is on the currency, like in God we trust. Maybe I should have known that going into things. But given that my audience is something like 50% American, because I guess you Americans like listening to British people talk about things on the internet, as we can tell by looking at the higher than average representation of British people in the gaming space. But anyway, so I failed to realize that America was such a God-loving country that, instead of seeing my fun church to Satan as a joke, as a meme, a lot of people were like, oh my God, Toycat, I love God, and you are criticizing him. And, I got like so many dozens of comments from people who were, long-term subscribers in some way, being like, you have crossed the line, Toycat. And the amount of like hatred that people were spewing over it, being like, oh my God, I'm never going to watch again, Toycat. You made fun of my most deep-seated belief. It was a fun joke. It was an extension of the idea of like, oh yeah, I like to have things that deliberately don't have a purpose, and what purpose could I have to a church, to a religion that I obviously am not a member of? And that one is still that one went down very badly, and to this day, every now and then I'm like, oh God, what if I make the same mistake? Like, people are much more prone to like bring an army of people who have the same feelings as them if they really dislike something. And I'm lucky I made that mistake early in my YouTube career, because the amount of hate, the amount of like backlash there was in a single video to just some like side thing that I was doing. I was talking about entirely different things, and also the fact that it was like a lot of young people. Like, I was expecting like, sure, if your mother comes and watches that and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that he's criticized, he's using God's name in vain. But it was a lot of young people from the United States being like, Toycat, this is it, this is done. And it blew my mind in a way I wasn't expecting. Speaking of things that blow my mind, Stale Baguette says, Q, what was your favorite part about staying in the US, and what was your least favorite part, and what surprised you the most about the United States? Try not to make it about food size. We Americans hate going to the food, so big size food is what we get. So the thing that most shocked me about America was probably the food size. Seriously, I know you don't want to mention it, but no, that's the most important thing. American and food size here is so dumb and big. Like, I really can't overexpress just how much food you're going to get if you go out to eat at a restaurant. Like, if you are eating out for dinner, you better not eat anything, or you better have like a light snack for breakfast, a light snack for lunch, and then you're going to like just gorge yourself on dinner, and it's going to average out to like a healthy number of calories. If you eat 3 meals a day in America, you are going to be large. It's crazy, because that is the message that's pushed, right? Like, oh yeah, 3 meals a day, that's important, but also the size of a meal here is so big. But anyway, if we leave that to the side, the thing that's interesting about America is just how car-centric it is, and I get why America is big and needs to have cars. I understand why the United States is such a big country that needs to have cars be the primary form of transport, but just how much they hate other forms is crazy. Like, it is really hard to bike in a lot of parts of America, but even just like being a pedestrian pedestrian, like, oh, I would like to walk from a place to a place 10 minutes away, every single intersection does not care about pedestrians. Like, you will wait 2 or 3 minutes sometimes to cross a road, and it's like, okay, so in the place where jaywalking is illegal, even if it's not enforced, we also aren't going to let people cross legally, because screw you, you don't have a car. Like, the car-centricness is really interesting. And it's also interesting because all of the other ultimate forms of transport would be very good for people, could get some exercise and could help with the size thing. And obviously I'm ranting about things that I don't like. There's so many trillions of things that I can talk about that I do like about America. Even that same food thing, I love food here. There are so many people all the time working on new ways to feed me in exciting, great things. And that's what I love in a lot of ways. But I also think it's crazy that the kind of active cities revolution that we've seen take place in a lot of European countries, and honestly, it's been there for a while in a lot of Asian countries and Australia and like all over the rest of the world. It's just not big in America. Even in the parts of the country where there's a great climate. I was in Las Vegas, a place where you could feasibly walk and jog all day long, but no, there is not a lot of infrastructure for you to do that because it's just not something people care about or want to do. So that's the craziest thing. But the best bit is food by far. Oh my god, so much food that. There are people at all steps trying to make sure that you have the best time you can, food-wise, entertainment-wise, everything else-wise, in America, especially in Las Vegas. And I really enjoyed that. So thank you for asking, Stale Baguette. But let's move into the next question, which comes in from Chase Spencer, who says, if the height limit is increased, will you expand your sugarcane and wheat farms? That's a very good question. And I honestly am fascinated because this is a real, this isn't a hypothetical too much anymore. They have made it very easy to increase the height limit on Java. They've basically just admitted to the world, hey, Java can increase the height limit. What about you, Bedrock? So right now, I imagine the number one priority in the Bedrock space is how do we increase the height limit without breaking even more platforms, etc., etc. So, given that they've even said they want to increase the height limit, they just don't know if they can on a technical level. So now that we know that height limits is very much on the table, should I then take my Bedrock to sky limit sugarcane farm, which is currently 256 layers, and double the height, or at least make it higher than it is right now? And my immediate thought is like, no, I want it to be a relic of, the old sky height. But then I think to myself, you know what? It would be pointless. And you know what I love doing in Minecraft Survival? Things that seem pointless and that make people, raise questions about why exactly you're doing a thing. So yeah, I think I definitely want to do some things that go well above the existing height. We're going to have to see the performance downside to that because my sugarcane farm already loads in weird chunks, and I don't imagine that's going to get too much better as time goes on. So yeah, we'll have to see some performance issues. But I do want to do a lot of building above the new height, and I think the sugarcane farm might be one of the first things I expand because I just think that'd be so fun. But let's move into the next question here, which comes in from Holden Goes. Oh, it's Golden Hose, but like backwards. Also, they got a raccoon picture. Can we appreciate that? I love raccoons. I want to see more of them. Send me raccoon pictures. If you spot a raccoon in the wild, send me a picture of it. Because as you can see from this map right here, there aren't raccoons in the UK. It's a North American continent exclusive animal that I think was accidentally brought to Germany. If we're looking at the same map. And with that said, let's read his question because he says, could you please use community posts to announce realms? I utterly refuse to succumb to making a Twitter account, but I do want to participate in realm experiments. So I'll level with you entirely on this one. I could, the easy crowd pleasing answer is like, oh yeah, I'll announce my realm experiments in way more places because it's been a long time since I've done a realm experiment, but I am going back to the UK this next week. Again, I'm not choosing to travel internationally right now. I'm being forced to by visa restrictions. I think I have to mention that, but before someone goes like, oh, Toycat traveling unnecessarily. No, traveling necessarily at the behest of the US government. I'd like to mention, not my choice, their choice. Anyway, with that said, so I'm traveling back to home in the UK, and when I'm there, I'll probably at some point before the end of the year make a brand new realm experiment. And a lot of people will say, oh, please let me know about it. Please let me know the moment it happens. But I want to let you into the my side of things. I can run realm experiments right now, but I have a quality issue, not a quantity issue. The moment I put out a tweet saying, here is a realm experiment, the realm will fill up within 30 seconds. I'm not flexing, I'm just saying lots of people are very excited to see them. So I have already too many people who want to join them. I used to do it via Discord, but Discord has like a toxicity problem that can form around that. So instead, I do it via Twitter, a controlled place. I don't have the issue where I need more people to join. I have the issue where I need to increase the quality of people who do join. How do I do that? That is something I would actually like to know. This is my, this is Q&A Saturday where I answer your questions, but also I ask you questions. How do I increase the quality of people who do join? Because any honest system you can set up, people are willing to abuse so they can have that moment where they'll do their hack, they'll do their thing. I was considering setting up like, we could have it be for members of the channel only. But then people will be like, oh, Toycat, you're doing this only so that people will give you money, ignoring the fact that it then creates a way that we can have people join the server. Again, there's a lot of different ideas that I'm cycling through, and I'd love to hear what you think I can do to not increase the quantity of people joining, because too much quantity. Minecraft Realms only support 10 people. I probably should just switch to a server, but I've been in talks with a lot of server companies and they've all fallen apart. But like, if only 10 people can join, it's about quality, not about quantity. I want people who care about and actually play legitimately versus the people who come in, use a billion hacks and tools, and I have to ban and all their alternate accounts, etc. I'd rather have quality, not quantity. So that's why I don't need to post it on Community Realms, and that's why your question is dumb. But I like your raccoon picture, so I answered it anyway, Holden goes. So with that said, let's move into Jello Jiggle's question, which is, where's your girlfriend? Would love to see her in more videos. So if you're curious, a lot of YouTubers do this, like, ooh, doing X with a girlfriend. Girlfriend does the makeup. Ooh, girlfriend reacts to XYZ videos. I try not to do those too much. Obviously, before we were dating, actually on the very first date, the first time we met, I was like, oh, can you send me a copy of your Minecraft world? She's like, oh yeah, sure. I didn't explain why, and then I made a video reviewing it, and then a year later, it was fun to like have a review my world. But I think people who overly involve their partners in their channel, like it's a fine decision to make, but I think it's kind of like farming out your life. It's like going digging, going mining across your life, trying to find the areas people would watch. And sure, maybe they would, but I kind of like, she's not a fan of being on camera. I'm a big fan of that too. Like I think not only is it this like awkward thing, like that now there's 3 people in this relationship. There's me, there's her, and there's the internet. But I also just think it's good to try and unlink areas of your life if you can. I mean, already as a YouTuber, I have to share a lot of my personal life, and therefore my personal life and my professional, my work life, whatever, kind of get mixed. You don't want to be mixing your relationships in that, because like, oh yeah, if you're having a fight, that then affects your work. Oh yeah, you can't record a video like trying Chinese food together, or I don't know what videos that people want to see, but like, you can't record that if you're having a fight. And like, oh no, what if the video does what if the other way around? Like, oh yeah, you record the video and then like something you say is upsetting, and then like you got to stop the video to deal with relationship stuff. I think in general it's better to not cross over your life aspects and make them integrated if you have to. Instead, I'd rather be like, oh yeah, she's here, that's fun. Rather than, oh yeah, you want to see our videos together. It's fascinating to see, because certain channels that are like, like couples, like, or even like literally married people are like, oh yeah, we have this channel that we share, and then they break up, and then the entire channel is gone. Like, I can't imagine putting your entire business interests in your relationship. That's like, like marriage is already a big step. Now imagine marrying your job to your relationship, and imagine how insane that kind of feels. Anyway, the next question here comes in from CT1267, who says, Q, what did you think of our good old American politics? So American politics is a very interesting world to follow from outside America, and I will say, on the internet, amongst my European friends, I have a fair few of them that are like, this is life and death, this is everything, and this is the most important thing happening in the world right now. And they act like things are on fire and people are killing each other in the street over their votes. And, this is, people act like it's the very biggest of things. If you speak to people in real life, they're like, oh yeah, I was thinking of voting for this guy because of his plans to do that. I was thinking of voting for this guy because I don't really like the other guy. Like, it's as simple as that, how they justify their votes in real life. People in real life are very calm and cool about democracy. You'll learn a lot from them. People on the internet are tribal and are hell-bent on making sure you vote for their person. I even saw, this is the most ridiculous thing, I've seen people on the internet being like, oh yeah, if you say you vote for whoever you want, then I'm going to block you. You say you vote for my person, or you're over. It's crazy, it's insane, but it's real. It's a genuine thing I'm seeing all the time. Yeah, just bear in mind, if you live outside America and you think American politics are crazy, from inside the country, everything's okay. I lived in a swing state for the last 3 months, and everything's, like one of the most competitive states in the country. Everything's been chill and fine. It's only people on the internet who insist that the world is going to burn if the other guy gets in charge, and I guess they're still doing that now, huh? But it's the real world is a lot of chill people, and I recommend, if you want to follow politics in your country or in any country, don't do it on the internet where everyone has to act like it's inflammatory. Just have a conversation with a few friends, see what they think, even though they might be horrifically uninformed. It's very interesting to see that difference, in my opinion, in any country, but it's even more interesting in America because I've had British friends call me up and speak to me about it, because everyone follows America's elections, and so it's interesting to see. Anyway, the next question here comes in from Minecraft Creeper. If you could design the fletching table functionality with creative freedom, how would you do it? So first of all, we should say that the fletching table is one of those potential 1.17 features. They did say it was going to come in the next update, and then they kind of pushed it back and then pushed it back, and that means that they could push it back into 1.18 or beyond, but the fletching table is something that they need to add functionality to. How do you tie that in with a Caves and Cliffs update? Or let's say I've got full creative freedom to not have to, but I would choose to do so anyway. I think a fletching table could be a great place to customize arrows, and right now we have arrows, and then we have spectral arrows, which are arrows plus glowstone. What if we could have more feathers on an arrow to make it go faster? What if you could customize that inside the fletching table? Except that doesn't really justify a table over just crafting it. So what if instead we tie this into the cave update, and wow, we need to have some new use for perhaps a new ore. We've got copper, but what if we had other things in there? Like, people always talk about sapphires and rubies, but what use could they really have? What if we could tip an arrow with them, and we could have super pretty arrows that have really, like strong effects that you can see. They leave a path behind them, kind of like a tracer bullet, I guess. Using the fletching table as a way to allow you to customize your arrow fully. Do you want to have the glow effect, or do you want to have a trail effect? Do you want to have slow arrows? Do you want to have fast arrows? Being able to make these different decisions. I mean, admittedly, it feels weird to want to have slow arrows, but if you want to speed those arrows up, you could have different kind of customization slots. I would love to see it, and obviously this is far too complex, but I think the eventual thing we see for the the fletching table is going to be great. It's going to be useful, and it's going to be come up with in a lot more than 2 minutes from your favorite internet cat. But it isn't 2 minutes from your internet cat. Juan Garcia. I realize it's Juan Garcia. Juan Garcia. This name doesn't come up a lot in the UK, okay? But he says, Q, the people saying, what? You're in the USA? And you might have noticed how every single, like a lot of people who regularly watch the channel are like, we get it, Toy Cat, you're in America. Stop mentioning it, please. You've mentioned portion sizes a trillion times. You've mentioned you're in America a trillion times. Why do you feel the need to keep mentioning it? But there is also a lot of people, anytime I announce it, saying, wait, you're in America? Even though I've been here for 3 months now, even though it's been something I've mentioned a bunch in YouTube stories, on Twitter, in my videos even, and it's a really useful reminder that on the internet, especially on social media platforms, like because there is an algorithm that doesn't feed you all of the posts from the people that you might like to watch, there's an interesting thing that like, oh yeah, you will only see a small portion of their life, a sliver of what's going on. If you're like the guy earlier who doesn't follow my Twitter, you don't see a lot of the personal updates that happen, the other half of YouTube happens there, so you're seeing half of YouTube even if you watch every video. But most people don't watch every video. So you're watching a small slice, and therefore you might miss things like that. And it's important to note, because the fact that it happens so much, so often, that even Juan Garcia has noticed it, even though someone else has spotted this exact same thing, is the reason why I, we'll make announcements that, hey, Streamless is happening this year. We're going to be streaming almost every day in December. You might hear that for the first time, or that might be the third time that you've heard it. I released a map last month, Ultra Hard Survival Scorched, and I've promoted it in a few places, and every now and then I get a comment being like, Toy Cat, you've sold out. You're just promoting your own map over and over again, even though a lot of people only saw it for the first time as a result of that last promotion. And I just want to mention this as like, hey, can you go easy on me on YouTubers, hopefully, but as a category, part of the category of YouTubers, I'd like you to go easy on me. That like, hey, there is some information I need to get out to the most people possible. Sometimes that information is that, hey, sugarcane does not grow faster on sand. That's a myth. It's been 8 years and I'm still spreading that myth. Sometimes that information is something that I really want people to know about, because I spent, like weeks making it, like Ultra Hard Survival Scorched, or, the Let's Play world, 7 years in the making, is going up onto the marketplace next month, December. I'm so excited. And I'm just so worried every time I say it that like, oh, but what if people have already heard it? And I know there's a chance you've heard it. I'm sorry if I repeat, but I want it to be known that a lot of people haven't heard it. This is their first time. And that's why you gotta find a balance as a YouTuber to say the same thing in a lot of different ways so that it feels slightly different and people are like, oh, this is my first time, this is exciting, and maybe that's interesting. Anyway, with that said, let's move into the next and final question from Corn567. Q, how did this series start? So, Q&A Saturday. By the way, why has everyone done Q this week? It's weird because someone just starts a trend doing like, oh, hashtag Q or whatever else, and then just everyone continues. Whatever, sure, Q, how did the series start? Q&A Saturday is the third longest running series on this channel, and it only started because when there were Minecraft updates coming out for Minecraft console, a lot of people were confused because they hadn't had many Minecraft console updates. And so it'd be useful to go through the most important and most frequently asked questions. If there was going to be world generation changes, being like, hey, they won't change world generation on you so that your existing chunks will change. It's only new chunks that they can change. That sort of stuff, you know, like answering the most important and asked questions about every single update. It was something that was important. But then over time, unlike a lot of other YouTubers, I started to slip in some questions about, you know, me that were coming up. Like, oh yeah, you want to know, you know, where I was born. I was born in the south of England, in a city that doesn't even have a real beach. The beach is made of rocks. You know what? We'll throw a picture on screen right now. It's Brighton Beach, in case you're curious. But actually, there's a Brighton Beach in America too. You know what? They stole that name. Okay, staying on track. A lot of people would start to ask some questions about oh, Toycat, you know, why do you speak British but have a few Americanisms in there, etc., etc., etc. And as a result, a lot of people like listening to the thing. And personally, I really like listening to Q&As if it's a great. Again, I like that kind of podcast feel. Let's put it on. Let's hear someone I care about talk. And I noticed that some people were having that same feeling with me. So I was like, yeah, let's keep the series going. And even though we've gone in and out of Q&As over time, I think it's one of the more fun series to do. That's why I do it, and it's why I hope you all enjoyed this week's Q&A Saturday. If you did, like it and let me know. Share it if you really liked it. And follow me on Twitter if you want to see the other half of YouTube. I know this seems like it's just my ploy to get you to go to another social media platform, but for real, that's where you see the regular updates. If you want to know where I am right now, if you want to hear about my flight, which is going to take more than 24 hours to finish, because to get back home I'm going a long routing because of, again, restrictions that America put on entry. Because people say that they did nothing about the coronavirus, but actually they banned Europeans, which I would argue is worse than doing nothing about the coronavirus, but that's because I'm a European and I felt like the ban just arbitrarily looked at figures that used to happen many, many months ago, and it kind of used that. But yet to this day, in November of 2020, in a world where America is the largest number of cases in the world, we are still looking at Europe and being like, yeah, let's not allow them in. And I think that's a little bit ridiculous, but you know, that's just my take on things. But yeah, if you want to learn about my flight home, if you want to learn about when I get home safely, and you just want to see weird, quirky things that I eat, you can see that on Twitter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.